Choices, reflections, growth. Choices. The choices that we make will be reflected by our growth. The decisions we partake in will take us down many roads. So many times we try to shine, but what really makes us glow is the strength we find in knowledge, for wisdom determines flow.
My name is Dina Piro, and I am the founder and executive director of iUrbanTeen. I'm originally from California, Southern California, but I moved up to Portland, Oregon back in 1990, then Vancouver, Washington in 1996, and now I live in Seattle. I've been here for 6 years. For me, I have always been the community advocate person, that person that wants to make sure that everyone is included. In fact, I was that little kid on the playground that looked for the introverted kids, or the ones who didn't have friends, and always would try to bring them into the fold and include them. Little did I know that that was part of my character of doing the work that I do in diversity and equity as well. So besides iUrbanTeen, which is creating education equity for students, I also do diversity and equity work with organizations and inclusion practices on how can you be more inclusive, in your workspace. So that's me. It's like I've always been this bridge builder, this person, this, empath, I guess you want to call it. I started in 2011, October 2011, was when we had our very first summit there in Vancouver at Washington State University. And I knew from that first one that we had to keep going, because I was witnessing something that was magical. When you're able to create that spark and pique their interest in something, I knew that we had to really just keep going. And we were truly grassroots effort for years, 9 years basically, until we started getting some outside support. Right now we're in 4 states. We're in Oregon, Washington, California, and Texas. The purpose of iUrbanTeen is to create what I want to say is equity in career pathways. We're an exposure to. So you don't know what you don't know. How can you be these different things if you don't know what they are, if you're not even shown what these things are? And a lot of times in our Black and Brown communities, that information share is not where it should be, put it that way. So we want to make sure that we bring the latest cutting edge information and career pathways to middle school and high school students, so they know what these things are. They know that there's something that may pique their interest, but even more important, they may know what they're not interested in. But it's basically that information share. Knowledge is king. And so when you know, you can make the choices that you want to make in life. And so that's what our real purpose is an exposure to, and to make sure that this is what this is. This is what you can do. And if you're interested, we can help you get there. We can help create that yellow brick road. And the other program we have is our Impact program, and that is with some of our staff working there within a school to work with those more marginalized students that might be at risk of dropping out of school or being expelled. We know that they're all brilliant. We just haven't had that opportunity, nor that type of one-on-one support. And that's what we're there to provide for them there at the Vancouver School District.
And then you'll give them a little like a handshake, and you'll give them their picture. And then next we got iUrbanTeen, which is Luca.
What?
Are you iUrbanTeen?
No.
You don't want to thank us, bro?
Bryce?
What?
Were you iUrbanTeen?
Yep.
Okay, you're up.
Next up,
I
Bryce.
need to write this down.
Half this shit meeting.
Woo!
What is going on here? Okay, go.
And then we should make a thing for.
So do I just look at here? Special thank you to iUrbanTeen. Thank you for bringing JT and Victor. Also thank you for the laptops. Thank you for letting us learn new, and also thank you for letting us learn new things. For example, the thing I liked the most at the Friends of the Carpenter was building the cutting boards.
Thank you, Bryce. And then you'll give them a little handshake, and you'll give them their impact thing. FCRC. Jen.
My name is Bryce. I'm 12 years old. I'm in 6th grade.
My name is Luca and I'm in 6th grade. And welcoming us. Thank you for letting us check in with you guys and giving us lots of snacks and candy. It has been a pleasure meeting you ladies, and it is a shame not going to see you guys every day.
Thank you, Luca. And then you'll give them a handshake and give them their little plaque, okay?
The way that my mind has improved since I started Intact is as follows. I start to think before I do something that's not right for me. I start to think before I say something that's not appropriate to others. I don't worry about what other people say to me.
I'm Rose Billy. I'm in 9th grade, moving on to 10th.
Marvin. In what grade are you in, Marvin?
7.
So when you're presenting, you want to try and face the audience and kind of maybe read like this rather than turning like this. Because you don't, although the back of your sweatshirt is sweet because Ambrose made that, right? You want to kind of turn like this where you can see it.
While being a student here at Impact, the pride that I take for my work has greatly improved. For example, every single week my classmates and I are given several different assignments to complete. Out of all the assignments given, I'd say that the one that I've enjoyed the most is called our capstone project, which requires
Solomon Sobey, 7th grade.
My name's Caden Simple, and I'm in 8th grade.
Angel, and in 7th grade.
Pride can mean many different things. The pride that I'm going to focus on today, however, has to do with how much I've grown while here at Impact. The area I felt like I've grown the most is controlling my anger. The reason I take so much pride in this growth is because when I reflect on where I was emotionally when I started here, I realized just how far I've come. And the reason why is because that is the reason why I take such pride in my work here at Impact, specifically in the area of emotional growth. I chose this. This is my artifact because I chose this because it took a lot of time and it helps me reflect on the situations that I've been through.
That was on point.
I wasn't really attending any of my classes. I was just skipping, and I wasn't doing my work when I was in class. I was just kind of talking to my friends.
I feel like it was mainly my decisions that got me here. I feel like they provided enough, and I just didn't do enough.
I got suspended like a lot of times, but it was mainly like with the same kids over and over again.
It seemed like the same as any other year, but it was actually going well, and it was relatively nice. I mean, I was doing great, not grade-wise, but I was kind of known around the school. That was cool. Pretty social. It was great, but there's just one little slip up, and that got me here. But gotta follow through with it, I guess.
Name calling, which made me mad, so I got too many fights with my mom. And yeah.
My experience at school, I wasn't going to school at all.
Even though most of the times I didn't think I was in the wrong, I guess deep down I knew I was in the wrong, and that I needed help with my anger issues.
It was still my fault at the end of the day. I chose to fight the kids that I did. I chose to do all that. Also, disrespecting the teachers. That was a really big one. That was more so than the fights. I only got into 2 fights. But it was more after the situations that I got into. They said I probably could have gotten, not scotch-free, but enough where I didn't get expelled. But I decided to run my mouth. And that's what.
I used to take my anger out on teachers or kids. Even one teacher was scared of me for some reason, let alone students too. Cause the day before I got kicked out, my dad and them came in and they said that one teacher was scared of me and a lot of students. I don't know why, but yeah, it's probably because I got in like lots of fights.
I mean, to make more problems.
Before, not well. I just responded with my anger, which ain't good. If you disrespecting me, I'm disrespecting you back. If you want to do something, do it. I feel like disrespect is pointless. I feel like if you have a problem with somebody, you should just take it outside or something.
Just fist connecting.
Sometimes I just walk out or skip.
Did you ever get in any fights?
Guys, make sure we're giving a respectful environment for the people that are presenting.
Achievements. At Impact, I'd say I've had quite a few accomplishments. I've been great socially, which I feel as if most would agree with. I feel as if I've been easy to talk to and outgoing, showing that it's okay to be yourself. I've been doing well with my assignments, doing my best and going above and beyond. With my attendance, there have been some times I haven't been here, but I've made up for lost time and caught up on any assignments. And the artifact that I chose was the essay because it shows some accomplishments that I've accomplished. Yeah.
Woo! Woo! Yeah.
What's up? What's up, y'all?
Is it on? I come on the other side. This is my good side.
Oh yeah, this is my good side.
Hey.
Not too close. What do you want me to talk about?
Ask him questions.
Ask me questions.
But Chukizo, what's your name?
What's my name? My name is Rain.
Rain the man.
Rain the
Where
man.
you from?
I am Chukis.
Chukis where?
Micronesian.
Micronesian.
That's near Guam.
Okay.
That's all? Like the basic questions?
Yeah. Go ahead.
He call you basic?
Whoa. I got 2, and that's not my good side. That's not my good side.
I'm playing this guy.
You have to get the good side about it, like, you know, like.
Where you from?
I'm from Impact. You know the vibe. Down, he just made me mess up. Hold up.
Marvin's video documenting the experience of Ambrose doing.
Hey, yo.
Frosting the cake.
What's your name?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Impact. My name is Victor, best teacher. Behind the camera is that good man Marvin, kicking it with the camera, you know, dropping them rhymes and beats, and also making that video.
Definitely lying.
Ambrose is just jealous. You know, it's all right, Ambrose. I'm still gonna be your friend and your teacher for the rest of. But you gotta get my face, bro. You're pointing down. You're pointing down, bro. There you go. So the cameraman got tired. The cameraman got tired. Okay. So he started going like this in my face and then going slow down.
He was just center of gravity, my man. He was just getting.
Well,
he was getting your belly.
Get some strength in there, because this gravity shouldn't pull you. But like I was saying, you know, best teacher ever. Shadell has a running into it, but I'm still the best. You know, Ambrose is jealous. Marvin is really cool with the camera. He's putting in the work, right, Marvin? He's gonna great videos, great pictures, and Jacob's right behind him.
I like how you were interviewing us too.
Oh, you know what I forgot? Actually, you could do this while I start doing that. Can you? My name's Elizabeth Mikaele. My title with Vancouver Public Schools is the Director for Student Welfare and Attendance and the Administrator over the Impact program. The Director of Student Welfare and Attendance works with families with re-engagement, attendance, discipline, boundary exceptions, accessing special programs, all of those components essentially that impact student welfare, and then impact because out of the discipline work, we were looking for alternatives to exclusion. Yeah, so one of the objectives out of the work from student welfare and attendance is really to work with our students who have been disproportionately impacted by discipline, which typically ends up being our multilingual students, our students of color, our students with disabilities. And iUrbanTeen's mission is to really engage those students in all of the STEAM work with science, technology, engineering, the arts, math. They even add some communication pieces. But the beauty of the work is that it's being led by staff members who are representative of our students. And a lot of times our students don't get to see people that look like themselves leading that work. And so the partnership with iUrbanTeen's mission and the impact mission just is like a perfect combination. When they first started the impact program, they were not super excited, they were not engaged, and a number of them were actually being tracked for truancy through the BECA process, the legal process for non-attendance, because they had not been in attendance. A couple of them had been withdrawn from multiple buildings for 20 days consecutive absences. Obviously they were impacted by discipline, and a lot of them were really disengaged academically. Our students in our community experienced the COVID pandemic, but there's also a significant mental health pandemic in Clark County, in addition to the racial, cultural, ethnic pandemic. And so the combination of all of those things left a lot of our kids really far behind with their social skills, but also with their academic skills and their overall engagement. And then a lot of times that equals what I call hallway economics, where they're walking the halls and not where they're supposed to be, and that idle time ends up being how they find themselves getting into some predicaments that lead them to me. What I would say in a generalization is that students through BPS that end up through the hearing process are coming to us because there has been a long-term suspension, an emergency expulsion, or an expulsion from their comprehensive building. Historically, what would happen with those students is we would just move them to a different building, but utilizing kind of the counseling mental health lens, like wherever you are, kind of there you are. If we don't teach the students something different to do and give them the skills, like we can't expect them to behave different when they return. And so really as part of our district's mission on belonging and creating community, is really helping the students to see this school is your school is your school, and helping the school to see the student is your student is your student. Like we will borrow them for a while and help and give them all the great things that we can during that time, so hopefully they've grown and they've learned some skills, and we will support them in the transition, but back to that community, back to that school, to those relationships that are familiar to them. And so it's a huge shift from where our district was historically of just moving kids around buildings. You know, I had worked at the high school, and sometimes I would get kids that had been to every middle school in our district.
Wow.
And clearly, like, that's kind of the example of if you're in the classroom and every kid fails the test, like, that's a you issue, not a student issue. And that's basically the way when I came into this role that I really looked at discipline as, like, if that's our only solution, like, that's a problem we have to fix as a system.
We don't know. Let's take a picture with that. Let's take a picture with.
Let me get all this.
More adult sizes.
Like that.
The blood in, blood out picture right here.
Oh my God.
Here, hang out.
All right, my name is James, and I work at the Lower Columbia Estuary Partnership, along with Andy, and then the two other folks that are on the paddle. Both their names are Alex, actually, Alex R and Alex A. So we'll make sure that we introduce you to them. We're really excited to have you out here at Lake River. Vancouver Lake is just a little ways down over there. We may get to Vancouver Lake. We may go exploring back into the woods. The water level is really high today. Andy and I, like our goals and our job, I think, is to share how we can be on the water safely, how we can do it together as a team, working together. And then our goal is just to go out here, see what we can find, learn a little bit about the wildlife, the animals that call this place home, and hopefully we also get to learn about each other as well today. It'd be great if, one sec, sorry bud, if we could at least get each person's name and then something you're excited about for the paddle today, and or something that you're interested in experiencing, and then
don't look at my feet.
Let us know if you have canoed before or not, been out on the water.
Good afternoon. My name is Victor. I'm excited just to explore. Never been to this lake, so this is brand new to me. I've been in a small canoe, nothing this massive, but I'm excited.
Great, thanks, Victor.
My name is Bryce.
Have you been on a canoe before, Bryce?
Yes.
Yeah?
Big or
As big
Not
as
as
great.
big, no.
Anything you're interested in experiencing today?
No.
All right.
Wait,
What?
you haven't answered my question. Is there water moccasins here?
Are there water moccasins? There's not water moccasins here.
Told you, Solomon.
My name's Jeremy. I've never been on a canoe this big either. I'm really excited, and kind of the same. I've never been to the lake, so that should be fun.
Great, fantastic.
Yes. I'm Chase. First time on a canoe. First time out here. This is all new to me, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, being honest.
My name's Andy. I'm excited for you guys today. It's really cool that the water's high because there's this whole area that we can never go to because it's like too shallow. But today we'll get there, and so I'm excited.
Okay, great. Really excited to have you. So we're gonna get in it one at a time.
I'll be volunteer first.
I think so. You're gonna be our paddle leader.
What do I say?
Wait.
Come on down a little bit closer.
Can my friend sit
You're
with
gonna
me?
sit right here, man. Where the weight is in the boat, if there's like that.
Bro, look.
I'm gonna get into the canoe here in a second. Alex is untying, and then we'll paddle. We have one paddle in the back of our boat.
Reflection. Reflection on my choices, listen to many voices. Reflecting on my actions required I silence noises. And although we fight what might annoy us, I've realized how far I've come. You don't need 1,000 people to believe in you, only one. Which is exactly why I'm grateful for those who have supported me. Saw the person I could be when my thoughts were so dim and I couldn't find enough light, lacking the sight to see. When the inner me was lacking the energy, due to allowing access from the enemy, paying less attention to my destiny, and instead on those who would turn their back on me.
that.
And then there's also, for any of you that want to learn some quilting, we've got quilting over here too. We've got people making some beautiful quilts. If any of you are interested. I heard what they're doing.
Never that dog. Might as well just wear it around. I'm gonna get into a picture.
My name is Jeremy Tyler. I am 34 years old. I am the Youth and Family Engagement Manager for iUrban.
My name is Victor Galeana. I'm 32 years old. I am a program associate.
Erin Hamilton, Managing Director for iUrbanTeen, Southwest Washington and Oregon.
My name is Simone Thomas, and I am a program coordinator.
Like that. Okay? Then you're going to take this next one and you're going to do the same thing.
We'll be back here Thursday.
Together
Tom,
and we'll get off.
is this too short?
Hurry up, give me more glue! I gotta go!
I'm Chase Lindo. I'm 27 years old. I'm the impact teacher.
My name is Renter Sancher. I am the on-site specialist student advocate for this Vancouver Public Schools.
Oh, cool. Hello. Hi.
These priceless.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
We work a lot with their emotional skills. So for example, anger reducers. So how to let, when they get frustrated or angry, how not to just explode out, but be even more mindful about it and be like, okay, I'm upset. Let me do something to control this. Let me do something to get out of this situation. And we do a lot of critical thinking and emotional thinking with them. We kind of just give them scenarios and be like, okay, if you were in this situation, how would you react? How would you, what do you think, with the information that we give you?
Well, if you like to work on during the summer, they have options for you to make a guitar. Someone actually did one.
We all get frustrated. We all get, something irks us, So how do we deal with those emotions? How do we put them into into play, where we don't have to react to them in a negative aspect, but find a positive way of expressing ourselves,
If you guys have some things some time in the summer, they're open to having you guys come here.
Yeah, we're open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday.
The goal for Impact Kids is to get them ready to be reintegrated back into their home schools, whether it be high school or middle school or even elementary schools.
I'm a good kid. See, look, I'm doing work. When I was in MAC, I feel like my priority was just having fun at school. I don't feel like, I felt like it was bad. Now that I reflect on it, I feel like it's bad because I didn't really have the school mindset. I had more of the, I'm gonna go there to have fun mindset.
I had the opportunity to work with Bryce in the building prior to coming to district office. In fact, he was one of the students where it was super challenging for me personally to have to leave because I worked really hard to build that relationship with him. And we had started to put systems in place to support him, but they weren't all the way put into place and implemented to fidelity. And so I worried about, how he would struggle with that, or how he was going to struggle with some of those things. And eventually he did end up at Impact, but it was really such a positive thing.
When I first met Bryce had these walls up. Like he has this reputation that he needs to uphold or presented. He was very strong-minded, this macho man, this alpha dude, trying to be the ringleader of even any circles that he was a part of.
I'd say angry. Yeah, angry, did not want to be there whatsoever. Was resistant to change, or I guess to any form of authority. He had a really hard time with anybody giving that instruction, that if it wasn't what he wanted to do, he wasn't for it.
Okay. Bryce was, I think how everybody else would be when they're coming into a new group, more calm and reserved, still not really afraid to share what he wanted to say. He had a bold opinion, and he stuck with whatever he believed in. I knew Bryce he'd usually just resort to violence. He'd usually just hit his way out of the situation.
Motivated, wanting to learn, friendly.
With Bryce, my experience with Bryce, always laugh because he cracks me up. Anytime we would do anything, he's always the first person to say, oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not participating. But then he's always the first to participate when it comes to whatever it is that we were talking about. So that was kind of my experience with Bryce is, you know, I always got that, you know, tough guy like, oh, I'm not going to do it. And then he turned out to be one of the people who enjoyed whatever it is that we were doing.
As like Impact started and we got through like all the lessons, he started like putting down these walls. Like he started showing that he actually does care about making friends instead of like being that ringleader that makes friends by force. You know, Bryce is starting to like show that he actually wants genuine friends, not just friends that fears.
There he is.
Oh my goodness.
What a great looking guy.
Thank you that allowed us to come here today.
You're always welcome.
Oh, let me get one. Get the sheriff. Oh, is this a camera?
It's for you guys while we're out here. We just came here to do it.
Ain't no way. I know where we're going. I'm going to the house representing Mexico. Let's go. Yeah.
I know, we're gonna go with this.
Look at my gate, cause it goes strong. It's down right now, but it goes up when it's closed down.
All right, guys, let's start walking. Ain't no way we're going back.
Okay, there's going to be a quiz at the end, so
listen.
On the way. Anybody who answers some right questions is going to get ice cream.
Ooh.
So I would read the history along the way. So I'm Aaron.
That's how you that'd be how you walk when you watch stitches on you, be like, oh,
Marcus. What's this one say, Marcus?
17,000 cascaders. 1,700 casting under humanity.
Wow, you were there in the beginning. Awesome picture.
I didn't even tap it.
Get a real picture, guys.
When I first met her, she didn't like me, I could tell. I think just her knowing that I'm Islander and she's Islander, that kind of changed the dynamic between each other, like me and Angel. Because being an Islander, you're like automatically like have to respect your elders. And I thank God, because I think that's what like kind of slowed her down on like being disrespectful towards me. Not that she's ever disrespectful, but you can just kind of tell, like with Angel, she's very like, she wants to fight everybody. If she doesn't like you, she'll tell you that straight to your face. And I think once she found out that I was Islander, we kind of connected on that level.
A bit shy and reserved.
The first time I met Angel, she introduced herself to me. She was the first person to say hi to me and introduce herself to me at the Impact class. And she seems very quiet, not really talkative at all. She seemed really into music because she had her headphones and was singing and stuff the whole time. But that's as much of an encounter that I had with her.
Yeah, Angel did not like me. She had to come into a hearing and she was not happy. And she basically was like, well, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go here. I don't want any part of this. And her mom and I basically like together said, well, this is where you're going. This is what you're doing. And so at first it was definitely a challenge to build that relationship after having to kind of impose that.
She came in towards a month in from the Impact program, so she got to come in after the class kind of established its own community, and she got to come in. Anybody comes into like a new environment, they're shy. week by week, she felt fine to let out her personality for who she was. Before that, I heard that she was coming from 3 different schools, just had different issues, whether with her anger, through just being disrespectful to teachers or whatever it may be. And it was either impact or her mom said like the army or that school.
She came in with just like a tough school situation. I think she came in a little later than some of our other students, but when she came in, she was the same way, super, super quiet, wasn't trying to talk. I built a really good relationship with her over time, but initially when she came in, she was quiet and didn't like to do her work at all. Trust was a big thing for them. Like, they were big on like you following through with your word, and it's almost like they expected you to let them down. So one thing I learned quickly is like, man, I have to follow through. If I tell them I'll get them something from Dutch Bros, if I tell them I'll do anything, they remember everything. So a big thing was building the trust with them, even with the small things.
Cadence, when I first met him, I could already tell he's a writer. He's like always in his mind. You can't really tell what he's thinking, but once he once he opens up to you, like he has a lot to say, a lot of like very intelligent things going on in his mind. And as time goes on, he's starting to, all these kids, they're all like, they have all these walls that they put up. But with Cadence, he's very intelligent, he's very smart. And once you get to know him and once he gets, comfortable with you, he'll share like what he has going on, what he has in his mind, all these like lyrics that he's creating for his music career. I think that's one of the best qualities that I see in Cadence when I first met him and throughout like Impact. He's very thoughtful and has a lot to say.
Cadence, man, he grew to be extremely talkative, but initially I'd say he was quiet too. He was another kid who's super artistic. He's really good with words. Like whenever we did a writing assignment, he was really good with that. And honestly, from the beginning though, I'd say he was pretty well behaved out the gate. Like we didn't have like any problems with him.
When I first met him, he's always been an intellectual guy, like always a deep thinker. He knew how to control himself in a social environment, how to control his anger well. And I think just being in the impact class of all the variety of kids there were, like I think if anything, it made him expand his mind and his thinking. He's always soft-spoken and reserved. Like though he was way ahead, like I guess through academics of everybody, socially he could have kept growing, and he did. And I think the kids in the class pushed him to be, I don't know, more.
Not like super opposed to coming, not super excited to come, really was disappointed, I think, in himself that he even had to meet me because of the circumstances. But he also was really driven towards being able to access the science, math, and technology SMT program at Skyview, and was very concerned about his future and had a lot of support from home as well. And so through that, like, that really helps the work with the students, right? When they already have identified the goal, because then you can help them to achieve that goal and to help remove barriers as we get to that place.
I don't know, engaged person, interested person, just is all around. I think Cadence just like grew, I'd just say overall in his maturity. Like every day, like in our journals, like it'll be a short question and he'd always give us a full page.
Yeah, Luca, at first when I met him, he was very respectful, but didn't really talk that much. He was very shy, timid. But as time goes on, he started to open up again with just like Luca and Solomon, and he's very respectful. Like he's gone through so much, whether it be like personal stuff or within the school system. He has gone through a lot, and for him to talk about it to some of the students, not the students but the staffs, it's a huge step. Like kids, like even when I was a student, I wouldn't open up to any staff members, and for him to open up like that, I think it's a very huge stepping stone for Luca.
Yeah. When I first met Luca, it was here at Lord's Gym, His dad had decided to enroll him in the impact program, which he did not want to do. And there were even some tears about him having to leave his middle school and his friends behind. But his dad, growing up, I guess, a similar situation as Luca, went through a similar program and knew it was going to be for the best for him. I think he was one of the first students I met in the impact class. And I got to pretty much spend like the whole class day with him because we didn't really have all our students there. And he told me everything straight up about his life, about how he grew up and all the struggles he went through, which brought him to Vancouver to stay with his dad. And he said it so casually, and in my head, I'm like thinking, like, man, like this kid's like what, like 12 years old? Like he's already going through all this?
Pretty quiet. He gravitated towards Bryce. They struck up a friendship, so it was one of the few people we talked to, but you had to kind of spend a lot of time just trying to get answers out of him. You had to really connect with him before he would open up to you, but I'd say he was super reserved and quiet.
Tell me about, raise your hand, raise your hand, don't just scream because somebody else will go get it. Bryce.
Mount St. Helens.
What about it?
It's 1,700 years ago, it says.
Okay.
It created an earthquake, I think.
Okay. All right. Tell me another country besides United States that was named there.
Japan.
Yes, you got it.
Wait,
Japan was one of them.
Do I get ice cream?
Yes, you already have ice cream.
I get ice cream? Do I get ice cream?
Yes.
Two. Okay. Who can tell me another?
Superman.
All right, guys, let's go.
Let's do it.
Give me a headache.
The other things that happen around here is if you can imagine trying to build a port, that over there is kind of an example of our port.
When I first met Solomon, Solomon had gotten himself into a discipline situation, and he was pretty like into himself, like not really like engaging, like I think like he was just feeling really lost, super respectful, but very quiet, present physically, but not necessarily engaged.
I love him. He kind of was the same way, like his attention could be easily gotten by something around the room. He's a very artistic kid, so if he saw Legos in the side and we were trying to teach a lesson, he would just go back there and play with the Legos. Or we had these magnets that you can build on top of one another. He would go play with those. Anything really, even when we're talking, be drawing something very artistic, but could get distracted easily.
Very active, very energetic, curious.
Solomon, I would say he's always been like I would say almost the glue to the impact kids, because a lot of the kids would say, well, if Solomon's not going, I'm not gonna go. So I think he kind of like got along with everybody, and maybe he was like their safe space because a lot of people were attached to him.
Solomon and I didn't really click at first. He was really closed off. And I think just, with the other staff members getting to know him and showing him that he could be himself, and just me being there present, making sure that I'm also there, just an extra help that he can, go to. As time goes on, he started to see that I actually, do care and want to be there regardless of what situation that occurs. He started to like put those walls down again. Like he started to trusting me. He's a very creative person. Like he can draw. And before, he wouldn't talk to me about the drawings that he does. And as time goes on, he started to like, hey, you want to check out my drawings? And like seeing those drawings, I'm like, wow, this kid is very artistic. Yeah. And that's what Solomon is, very artistic. He knows how to express himself. At first, he's kind of closed off, but as you get to know him and once he gets more comfortable with you, he'll show you his creative side of things.
With my knowledge before meeting Solomon, I knew that he was a student who was never in school. Like no one could get in contact with him, with his family. Finally, we got him into the impact class, and we were completely engaged. Like Bryce, this wasn't like the kid that I'm hearing about. Like a kid, like Solomon was wanting to be in class every day. Like he was excited to show up, and his dad was doing everything to support like him in his education. And so obviously getting to know the students and hearing about their hardships that they're coming from, it's like, oh, I understand like why like you were absent from school for so long, or like you have other obligations at home to attend to, you know?
That's what some of the other kids said too. They were like, is this Pepsi?
I want to wait here we got one more coming real quick.
Hey, come on, stop.
So this project is kind of interesting. You can see that we kind of ran into a little situation here between both of these ends. There was a wetland here, and it's a deeper depressed area. And instead of trying to dig all this out and drop the bridge down and then bring it back up, well, that creates some interesting challenges. One, we don't want to dig back underneath the road here and have heavy trucks come through and then have to build a retaining wall the whole length down here. And then two, they don't want to have a lot of disturbance with what is going on underneath here. So what the solution was basically to basically install foundations down here and build a bridge. And so what that looks like is really the port going out, working with consultants, and really trying to put together what's the best solution for this, and then putting that out to bid for a contractor. All of these, there's support systems down here, and they are buried into concrete foundations that when we thought originally, we thought they were just going to be little, 3-foot diameter foundations out here, but they ended up being almost 6 feet in diameter and almost 9 feet deep. So a lot more than what we initially expected. Of course,
Marvin's another quiet one, kind of just was in the back doing his own thing all the time. When we went to OMSI recently, I seen him open up and be more playful then than I have ever have with him. So that was nice to see the growth of him being so quiet to, actually playing and having fun.
Funny, energetic, wanting to connect.
Oh, Marvin, oh my gosh. Marvin was one of the very first students that I worked with when I became a staff member at McLaughlin. And he was very, very challenging, to say the least. And he really did not want to hear a whole lot of anything that I had to say. And he just did not want to have to be in my office, and I was just a big thorn in his side. And then one day we were in a meeting, and his brother's girlfriend shows up, and she is the baby of a family where I'd worked with all of the older siblings. And so again, that connection, that partnership piece. And so he just had this huge smile on his face. Like he was like so excited that there was this like connection. And then from that point on, like I really was able to start to build a relationship with him. And I learned that like he was having a really hard time hearing things. And then with us having to wear masks because of COVID, he couldn't even read lips. And so some of the things that were being identified as defiant really were, he literally could not hear what was happening.
Before impact is that the teachers would say Marvin would never listen. You would always get in fights, disrespectful, similar towards the other boys. I didn't really get to see that. I mean, I just saw obviously he's quiet. That's what I knew Marvin beforehand, is just being a fighter. Like just randomly with Victor or other classmates, just be like, hey, you want to fight? And whether it be jokingly or serious, like that's just what he always wants to do. He's just a straight up, he's a fighter. When we got to like hang out with like elementary kids and then seeing like how much of a good role model, like how kind he is to the kids, and just like jokingly, and just like he takes them in as his little brothers and sisters when we go to the schools. Like, it's like, this is not like the tough kid like I hear about.
Marvin, super quiet too. He had a hard time with like receiving direction, but I will say, being that he was Chiquis, when we brought in someone who was as well, they were able to connect with him because they understood where he came from, which was a big thing for him. I think just culture-wise, that helped a lot, because there were certain things that maybe he would do or say that we wouldn't understand, and then we just realized it was like an unintentional ignorance. It was like we just didn't understand like where he came from, and he was someone who eventually opened up my eyes to a culture I didn't even know much about. That there's a large population here, but he was super quiet. We built a really good relationship too over time, but he's very one-on-one based, which I mean I found with a lot of the kids, when you get one-on-one with them, there's so much more that they have to say or give or talk about, but you just have to strike up that relationship.
My first time meeting him was outside of Impact, and he had like, I knew, like I had rumors like, oh, Ambrose is a very bad kid. He's disrespectful. He does all of these things. I've heard that through like my family, mutual, family members. And then when I started Impact, he was the first student of Impact. And I like the fact that he doesn't just treat me like a teacher or a family member, but treats me like a teacher, an advocate. And he already has that, again, with the respecting, with being an Islander. And again, like he's very professional. Like he doesn't, just because we're related, he doesn't just like tells me like do this, do that because we're related. No, he does what the other students do, like do his work, and when he needs help, he calls. He doesn't assume that just because we're related, I'm gonna take it easy on him. Yeah. He's very creative though. Like his graphic design skills is beyond anyone's his age. He did. He did. And other partnerships like iUrban is using it. He designed our cake for our graduation party. Like all of that was Ambrose.
Quiet, thoughtful, introspective, wanting to engage.
This was a kid who just tried to like break into the precinct, went to juvie, and just like, I don't know, I'm picturing like a pretty hard kid. And I guess the judge had offered him, all right, he's either gonna go to juvie or go to Impact. And obviously, he's gonna go to Impact. He was there like a month before the class started, so he, in a sense, he got to be, we call him the ambassador, because he helped do all the decision making. Hey, Ambrose, like, do you think we should talk about this in our curriculum? Do you think this social skill is relevant to your life? And at first, like, it was just, like, it was hard to get anything from him. Like, he was just quiet, kept to himself. And then finally, by when Impact was getting set up and the kids were there, I think he was actually excited to see it start happening, because he's been doing a month of preparation time with us. And so I think the fact that he got to be a part of the whole Impact setup, I think it just meant a lot for him to see it actually happen. And see, Ambrose, just like our other kids, like, he's got baggage coming into the class. He's been in Vancouver for about a year. Hard family stuff going on. And he's the oldest brother, so he's got to step up for his siblings too, for his mom. And of course, worry about school all at the same time.
I would say he was really engaging with a lot of the field trips that we took. From what I've noticed, he enjoyed himself and had fun. And
him and Marvin are super close. He's quiet as well. I'm realizing like 90% of these kids I'm saying that, but yeah, he's the same way, man. He's but he was the one who designed our logo for the impact program we did.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's super, super talented, man, and really, really chill, but was very to himself. And I learned with him, which I find the case to be a lot, is like, just because he may have had a past where he got in a lot of trouble, that wasn't a reflection of like the person he could be. Like once we got to spend time with him, he opened up dramatically, and he got to a point where he was like teaching the students too, like, hey, you guys chill out. And if anybody you would have assumed based off of his history would have caused problems, it would have been him, but that wasn't the case. Wow. Like, it was incredible, his growth.
Ambrose originally was a kid where I was like, I don't know if this program's gonna work for Ambrose. And one of the administrators from Fort Vancouver High School was like, he's so smart, he's so artistic, he's so respectful. Like, I really think this program will be a transformation for him. And I was super nervous because I always joke with him, I'm like, you were notorious and now you're legendary, because we all knew him for some of the things he'd gotten himself caught up in.
It looks like it's just a bridge. It is just a bridge, but there's a lot of things that go into making a project a project. And another thing I thought about is, you know, when you're thinking about careers and things, think about some of the skills. Some of the skill sets that you learn might be useful in all of these areas, such as scheduling, surveying, field work, and plan reading, just reading plans and those things. Lots of different jobs require that, and it's really good. So I have a set of plans.
Growth. Now, my call was never supposed to be focusing on my ego and building my own throne. It's to help those who are called the most disconnected and lost generation to find a home. So many judge the young. Many in this nation have become numb. But intelligence isn't granted just because we treat little ones like they're dumb. Forgetting that we were once a child. As our age increases, hard-hearted being senile. The young OG within me is trying to make children smile. Passing on what we know is what makes living life worthwhile. And growth is a result of when we challenge and make sure that our intentions aren't rooted in jealousy, only pure. Understanding where we're going is often based off where we've been. And though I can't see every future walk I'll go on, my legs have strengthened from steps that my body has already taken in. Choices, reflections, and growth. Never neglect giving out that which helps us to grow the most. Pouring out your life, use your body as the device. In a world so divisive, it's love that will remain priceless. Stop tagging on where no price is. The impact I'll leave on this world, nobody except God currently knows. But I assure you with reassurance, eventually I'll reap everything that I sow, while making sure that those after me surely know. For the light that I spark will bring hope in the dark, reminding them of their purpose. Potential will only stay potential unless we penetrate their heart's surface.
It was this.
My name is Peter Krem. I'm the executive director of the Wind and Oar Boat School. We're working in partnership here with the Willamette Sailing Club and Oregon Youth Sailing to create this program that is a combination of boat building and on-water activity. I've been sailing since I was 5 or 6. My parents had a sailboat, an old wooden sailboat that we took our 2-week vacation on it every summer. So, and I taught sailing when I was in high school. Yeah, so sailing is, you know, something I really love. I don't get a lot of it here, but also like rowing, which is why we're wind and oar.
Glasses all set? Everybody got glasses? Okay, what's next? What's the last one in the bottom of your box?
Wind and Oar started in 2001, so we're 11. Yeah, going on 12. And we started in a maker space here in Portland and have grown to now where we're occupying a part of a building where the other company there is a wood fabrication company for doors and windows. So it's a place where we'll take high school kids through the shop and let them see what potential, workforce things or jobs might be out there for them after they learn how to do what is essentially cabinetry level woodworking at the high school level. So this summer program is really a quick 2-week thing where we build that boat. And it's a fairly simple boat. It's the same one we use in school for 5th through 8th graders. It's getting more and more recognition now as a viable alternative, educational alternative. And so we are in demand. We're recognized by the Oregon Department of Education. But when we're in the classroom and we need to break up the group into smaller pieces, we actually have all kinds of other activities that are hands-on that they can do that are related to the boat building. We're trying to emphasize physics and environmental studies. So, because physics is something they're going to do as soon as they go to high school, and then the environmental studies is popular, relevant all the time. What makes it a kind of a potent program, it's not just, it's a skill building thing, but it's really more about the process, learning about what it takes to go from point A to point B and how you make decisions about things to do or not do based on the outcome that you're trying to achieve.
We officially named this boat Nolani, and asked that it experience gentle currents and fair wind as it travels this watershed. We also acknowledge that this river is a delicate resource, and we promise to protect these waters so that future boat builders and river travelers may experience the same clean water that we do.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hi, Pissy Piss.
Oh, you spill all of it.
This way you won't know if it leaks because there's water in the boat.
But yeah, biggest thing, welcome to the end of the year celebration. This has been a crazy 14 weeks. It's been amazing to get to know all the kids and work with the parents and work with all the staff here sorry, this is the weirdest thing of all time, but to get to know everybody. And I'm really excited to kind of celebrate and have the kids be able to show you a lot of the things they've learned this year and to be able to celebrate them today. We do have a few.
It's really good. They've actually helped with anger management, stuff to reduce your anger, social skills, and things like that. Before this program, if someone tried to fight me, I'd say absolutely. But now I'd just be like, I'm good. It's just being the bigger person, better than wanting to fight everybody because you're mad at how stuff's going for you. This actually happened yesterday. Me and my brother, before I went to spend the night at my friend's house, we were having a disagreement, and he was just like calling me names, and I was calling him names back, and then I was like, you know what, it's not worth it. I love you, bro. I'll see you later.
See, peer pressure, they taught us about that. It was because of this program I started to say no to anybody, because I never did say no if they try to pressure me. I always used to just say, yeah, I'm down. No, this time it's different.
With that, they were clearly involved and they clearly wanted to help and just get us on the right track and just do our best. So I really liked that.
I think I'm ready, but I'm low-key gonna miss Impact. It's been fun. They tell me to do a lot of things that I never done before, and it's my new, first time doing it, so I want to do it because it's my first time. I'm friendly now, I guess. I don't know. I don't really know what to say. I don't usually talk a lot to people outside of Impact too. Whenever I see people outside of Impact, I'm just like nice, I don't know.
I think next year, I feel like I've learned enough to know how to control myself and to how to stay out of trouble. I feel like I will do great.
Well, at Impact, like if I have a problem, they'll like help me like solve it out or something. Try and think of other ways to solve situations. That I learned how to control my anger. I don't know, I haven't been upset since like a while actually. I've been mostly calm and excited. Yeah, as long as I remember all the things that Impact has taught me.
Each day, usually you'd learn a new thing about anger. They give you anger management, like classes and stuff. They teach you about things, how to control your anger. Like one that I really liked is self-control. Pride can mean many different things. The pride I'm going to be focused on today, however, has to do with how much I've grown while here at Impact. The area I feel like I've grown the most in is controlling my anger. The reason I take such pride in this growth, such growth, is because when I reflect on where I was emotionally when I started here, I just realized how far I've come, and is the reason why I take so much pride in my work here at Impact, specifically in the area of emotional growth.
He made a lot of growth. And I think the partnership between the family, the student, and the school, like we were able to make a lot of progress moving the work forward to help him to see things from another perspective and give him coping skills, and help to create a plan that he felt like he could utilize when he goes back to the comprehensive building to be successful.
He was resistant, but as time went on, that kid got his work done. His anger reduced dramatically. Like when he first came in, he could get angry about the simplest things. But you would see him now at the end of the program would actually sit there, process his thoughts, actually communicate with us why he was angry, let us know like, hey, this is why I acted this way. But his communication skills like improved dramatically, I think, and just overall his temperament improved a great deal as well. He transformed a lot.
I was actually just talking to him a few weeks ago here during the summer program here, and he was telling me how, now when people want to fight him, he's like, well, give me a good reason why I should fight you. As in before, when he first started to the program, he wouldn't have asked that question. It would have just happened. But for him to be boasting about like, hey, give me a good reason why I should fight you, and he's like, and they can't tell me a reason, they just tell me I want to fight you. I'm like, that's what, and his response is like, that's what you want, but that's not what I want,
I would say attendance. Like he's always there on time. The first student to be in Impact, ever since we got started till the very end of Impact. Not the end, but like during, before summer break. He has been like the first one to show up and the last one to leave. Sometimes the last one to leave.
Next up, we have P for Pride, brought to you by Solomon.
While being a student here at Impact, the pride that I take from my work has greatly improved. For example, every single week my classmates and I are given several different assignments to complete. Out of all the assignments given, I'd say that the one that I've enjoyed the most is called our capstone project, which requires us to share a lot about ourselves. The reason I've taken so much pride in the capstone project is because it requires me to incorporate doing artwork, which I really enjoy doing even when I'm not in class. This is my artifact that I chose, which is our weekly goal sheet. The reason I chose it is because it shows me not only what I want to work on, it's also a daily reminder.
Stories about Solomon, and at the end of before summer break, he started being himself. He started being comfortable in his own skin, being very artistic. So I think him getting out of that shell is what stood out to me the most.
He focuses on attention, and it would warm my heart because whenever we had a project that he wanted that he used to get distracted on, he would just say, JT, can you help me? But he at least wanted that. Like, he at least was willing to do his work if someone would just spend time with him one-on-one. So he started getting his projects done too, that he used to not, like when he used to get distracted to just go play with the Legos I mentioned or whatever. Yeah, he actually would sit there, and there'd be time kids would come up, come on, Solomon, if they wanted to throw something in class or whatever, mess around and be like, I gotta get my work done. I gotta get my work done.
I think that's another great example of the partnership with the family. Like, because I don't think that the impact program in and of itself did any of the work. Like, I definitely think it's like a kind of like a triangular effect of the program staff, the students' buy-in, and then that partnership with the family, because they're the expert on their own students. And as you build that relationship with the families and that trust is built, you're able to leverage those relationships, and you gain deeper understanding, and you can more effectively help the kids.
He likes to make you laugh. He likes to be, the center of attention, but in a good way, and it's just that development of Solomon's decision making and openness. He kind of opened himself up more. And that's really good seeing,
Before I came to Impact, I was a kid who had bad behavior and would not listen to people. I had to get told once or twice to do stuff. Now I can do stuff without getting told a lot of times. My behavior has improved, even the teachers have said it.
One of the things he told me was working with his anger was one of the main points he wanted to work on. And I can see that he succeeded. He really put a goal for himself. He's like, this is where I'm at, and this is kind of where I want to end up. And I feel like he really did end up being there, where he wanted to be able to control more his frustrations and his feelings more, and not let them.
Just knowing his story and the fact that he's leaving to continue his education, but just the fact that of his character and the person he became through it, and how much he endured to not do the more bad choices, like it just made my heart so happy. Like it's like, this is my life now, like as a part of these kids.
Way more outgoing for sure. Like, he connected with a lot more other kids. He was another one who became an example of getting his stuff done. He actually started communicating his feelings too. We allowed for a lot of the kids, if they had a day that was tough, and they were internalizing their feelings, we would at least let them take a walk with us outside. And he was the type, like, once he walked around, he got back in the classroom, we talked to him, he'd just get back to doing his work. He improved a lot, and he was way less reserved by the end of the program. He got more energetic to the point where he'd like be pulling us in to want to do stuff, and he was just a lot less reserved. I'd say he was way more talkative than he was when he first got in there, for sure.
He's one of the students that was able to go back full-time back into the comprehensive building, and he's thriving. He's doing great back in the comprehensive building, so it's been super exciting to be able to see that transition.
It's my privilege and pleasure to present her diploma to Angel. Where did she go? Hey, Angel, come up. Angel's persistent and resilient. She takes into consideration how others feel. She really does. She takes a moment and looks around before she speaks. So I respect that from Angel. Always willing to learn by asking others help if she doesn't understand something. She really does. She's always asking for help to get better, and I admire that from her. Congratulations, you made it.
Me and her, she was one who had struggled a lot with literacy, like writing more so. And since that came natural to me, I would help her with that. She was another person who needed just one-on-one attention. She had gotten in a lot of trouble in school, but we had only maybe two incidents where she had gotten got caught up in the class and got caught up in her anger. But I will say that over time, she started to see why her mom even wanted her in the program was so that she could get back on track, so that she could go to the regular high school. But I would say that her anger calmed down a lot. She stopped looking to go to fights immediately, but she has improved a lot. And the fact that she even wants to come to the summer program is pretty big in and of itself.
When she first came in, she was coming in and she had a lot of emotions that she was trying to express, but she just couldn't find the right way of expressing them. And I feel like towards the end of the program, she was more receptive in a way that she wouldn't just lash out on you. She will think about it, you know.
She's one where definitely like we could have really great conversations. Like she really has a deep depth of her understanding, and through those conversations, like she really does process and reflect on those things, and you can see that growth happening. And that's been communicated like from the family side too, being able to see that shift.
She struggles with like talking about her feelings. She when I connected with her, the main problems that she runs into at her homeschool is not being able to find someone to connect with. And I think Impact being an Impact showed her that there are staff members who actually cares and wants to listen to what she has going on. And I think that's what made her kind of open up, because she knows that we're not just here because it's a job. It's because we actually want to make an impact in these kids' lives, because we've been there. We didn't have anybody like. The student that I'm fortunate to call up tonight is Marvin. Marvin, please stand up. Marvin is one of our silent leaders. Even when he doesn't use his words, others are influenced by him. He's a good role model for our kids. And one specific incident that stands out to me is when we went over to our next door school to help out with the kids. Marvin stood out to me because he was able to help a younger kid. He was able to connect with them. I wasn't able to connect with that kid, but Marvin was able to connect with him. So Marvin, good job.
The beautiful piece is being able to see where he started out with, or where he started out at, to like where he is today, to be able to like, he smiles, like we used to, he couldn't even be in the science class when we were in the building because he just could not stand to be in there. And then this summer they were at OMSI with iUrbanTeen, and the pictures, I mean, he just has this huge smile on his face. And during summertime, you know, he's doing science work and engaged in science, like things that he probably would have never thought that he would be doing.
There was a younger student over at Roosevelt that I couldn't connect with. Marvin came and connected with this young student, and he was able to like talk with him. I couldn't. I tried like, you know, connecting with this student, but I couldn't. But Marvin came and like just, you know, talked to him like a normal kid like would. And he actually helped him with his math problems. I was struggling. I was like, I didn't like, what's going on? Like trying to, you know, connect with the student. He's like, I don't want to talk to you. I was like, okay. And then Marvin just came out of nowhere. He was in my group. I was like, all right, let me try talk to this kid. And they connected.
He didn't get in a single fight during that, and I know that was one of the reasons he had actually joined our program. He connected with all the guys. He actually started showing respect to us and talking to us. He was able to finish a lot of his work, because for him it was also a struggle of like, maybe he just needed the thought to be sparked.
Once he starts trusting you, you're able to communicate with him. And what I noticed is I noticed a big improvement in Marvin. From the shy young man that I met when I first started the program, to him being now, you know, in his own way, more outspoken, more he'll express himself better. Marvin is something, you know, he went through some things throughout the program, but I kept seeing him coming back out. And he's a very strong person, and I have a lot of respect for him. But yeah, once you start building those relationships with him, he was able to communicate better with you. Yeah. Marvin came out, and I feel like he's a better person in my eyes, you know, from the beginning to the end of the program.
At Impact, I'd say I've had quite a few accomplishments. I've been great socially, which I feel as if most would agree with. I feel as if I've been easy to talk to and outgoing, showing that it's okay to be yourself. I've been doing well with my assignments, doing my best and going above and beyond. With my attendance, there have been a few times that I haven't been here, but I made up for lost time and caught up on any assignments. Now, My artifact is the journal that we do in the morning, and reason that being is like I just get it done and share it out with people.
Personally, I think for Cadence it would be his confidence all around, especially in public. Just and coming to understand that his skills could actually, they didn't just benefit him, they could benefit other people. So I would say his confidence for sure.
Now he also is one of the students that's fully transitioned back. He's in the science, math and technology magnet. He was accepted. And I've just had nothing but wonderful reports from the comprehensive building of just how impressed they are.
Candace came out more aware of the surroundings, being more mindful of the people he trusted with the information, and just a different outlook, I feel like, the way he came in. He's always been a very smart, caring individual, but I feel like throughout the program, everything kind of helped him out. He was actually battling with frustration too and expressing his anger. I didn't know that, until we started working with him more and more, and he was able to express himself more in that way. But yeah, Kenan was he's a very caring individual.
Next up for our presentations is the M of impact. That's mind. We're gonna have that presented. We're gonna have that presented by Ambrose and Marvin. So Ambrose and Marvin, head on up, boys.
The way that my mind has improved since I started Impact is as follows. I start to think before I do something that's not right for me. I start to think before I say something that's not appropriate to others. And I don't worry about what other people say to me.
Ambrose developed a lot. He's become a very responsible individual throughout the things, and his decision makings have gotten better. He's developed the way where he can be himself, his true self. I feel like that's always in him, the goofiness, and wants to joke around, but he never showed that. Or at the beginning he didn't, and now you see it more and more where he's comfortable with us, and I feel like he's matured a lot. He's very responsible now. He's a very responsible individual. And caring individual. Honestly, I feel like if you ever needed something, he will give it to you if he had it. So he's a very responsible and caring individual for the people around him.
Fast forward through the process, he actually helped us hire. He was part of all of our interview panels with staff. He designed our logo. He helped plan our celebrations. He gave student input on all the materials that we bought. He gave input on curriculum and lessons. So the amount of student voice in the creation and implementation of Impact is huge in comparison to other things because of Ambrose.
Dealing with his feelings, again, like with us Islanders, we don't know how to talk about our feelings. And having, Victor, Chase, Dallin, JT, even the girls, Cindy and Melissa, being able to talk to someone, I think that's what has helped Ambrose the most. Being able to communicate his feelings to someone, and knowing that those people who is communicating his feelings to actually care, and are not just doing it because of the job, or not just doing it because of the money, but because they actually care.
Thank you to Chase for being understanding when we made mistakes and for being the one to pick up our gift card. Thank you, Shadell, for teaching everybody and keeping everyone in line and keeping everyone safe. Thank you, Victor, for coming to work at Impact and being funny. Thank you, T, for helping us with the writing of our essays, our projects, and being the chillest person. All right, now, hit next. Yeah. Thank you, Renter, for talking with us about our feelings when we are mad or sad, coming to pick us up, getting us food and drinks. Thank you, Cinian, for helping us when we have a hard time with our schoolwork, helping the girls when they take forever in the bathroom, and for getting us right. A special thank you to you both for just being here. We really like having people like us that relate to us and letting us see Chuki's staff who are successful.
They're funny, and they don't just tell you what to do, they help. JT helped me with my whole essay.
They are really good to me. Sometimes I, get mad at them and start making stuff bad, cussing. Then I just try my best to not do the kind of bad stuff. But yeah, they're kind.
They always cared. I don't know how to explain it, but they're always scared. And they're not, it's just not like going through one ear and out the other, like they're actually listening to you. So that was really nice about that.
JT, Victor, Chase, Rinther, and Shadow. They actually act like they cared. Like they actually came up to me, started conversations, actually spent time with me.
I feel like I put more faith into them than any other teacher that I had. Like I would be talking about the most random crap ever, and they would actually seem interested in it, and they were.
The students can tell, they genuinely want to be here. They genuinely believe in them. What they're saying isn't just lip service.
I think it's important for us to teach kids how to express their emotions. In school, they're surrounded by a lot more people. If they want to be, when we all get frustrated, we all get angry, it's how do we express it in a positive way. And I feel like that will be one of the things that we should do is expressing ourselves.
Just getting to know each one of them and say their hardships individually, it just made me so much closer to each student. I genuinely cared for each one of them's mind. Even by the end, at the Impact celebration, when I had to give Luca his award, I broke down.
Personally, when I'm out and about after work and I see them walking, there's this thing that I have to stop, make sure they're okay and they're not getting into trouble. But working closely with Impact Kids, it's they're a part of a family, a part of my family now. If something were to happen to them on the street, I can't just look at them and not do anything.
The Impact program is more of a life skills building class. Because first we have to work on building up that self-confidence and that identity, level setting all of those things so that they can thrive in the school environments.
I just hope that one day they can take something from me and think that whatever it is that I did for them or that I showed them or maybe have said to them, that it'll stick with them in a positive way. I'd rather be remembered as somebody who either helped them in some way, brought some positivity to them in some way.
There's people out there who care about them, who are supportive of their education and their goals, whatever that may be in their life, that we will try to do everything possible to help them succeed, and that they can look to even strangers for support, and that might take a little trust building, and to get to know people, but to not be afraid to reach out and to get support to help further their goals.
There's always a moment when you're teaching that every teacher's looking for, but we seem to get a lot of them, and we're calling them aha moments. It's that little flash of insight that it's and it could be when we do fractions at the beginning of the class. We've got a way to talk about them that they go, oh, that's what they were talking about in school. And then we immediately pick up a tape measure and start measuring. It's okay, this applies, this is relevant, and I can now learn, I'm not afraid of fractions. And there's all kinds of chances for that kind of thing to happen. But that's an obvious one for us. It's oh yeah, math isn't really that scary thing that we thought it was.
For me, this isn't just a stepping stone. I was in school full time, training to be a firefighter. However, being a part of this program has set me on a path to actually continue pursuing this adventure full time. Every single day, I look forward to being around these kids. On the weekends, I run ideas with my wife, have conversations with friends, and text my fellow coworkers who are more like family at this point, thinking of ways that we can make a difference in these kids' lives for the better. I've lost over 10 people in under 10 years. Some to drugs, some to gangs, some to old age, some to murder. And one thing I've learned for certain throughout all 34 years of my life is that every single person, every single life has value, including our kids. In the book of Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6, it says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." This is more than a few hours in a classroom. It's a conviction to make a change. If we stand by idly, watching a generation in need without helping them, then that's on us. It is my hope that we live up to our team name, Impact, and that these kids feel loved so much that they make an impact as well. One thing is for certain, they definitely have made an impact in my life. No question, and I'm sure that my colleagues can attest as well. Thank you.
I would just love to say to the kids, you know, in this world, it's so much different for all of you than it was when I was your age. Or you've had so many challenges to overcome, a pandemic, you know, not being in school, not being able to be with your friends. It's a whole dynamic that we have never seen before, but you're making it through it. It shows how resilient you are. I just want to tell all the students to just keep the faith, keep moving forward, believe in yourselves, and understand that you are uniquely made. You don't have to fit into someone else's bubble. You are uniquely made. There's a story that I've always looked at for myself because I always felt like the misfit, that I didn't fit in someplace. But I saw a quote from Dr. Seuss, and it said, and I want you to resonate on this. It says, why try to fit in when you were meant to stand out? When I understood that, and when I felt it, then my trajectory just totally changed, because I am also uniquely made, just like you are.
Really appreciate all the students' willingness, their curiosity, their motivation to come to class every day, and hopefully the Impact program helps them build a lot of skills that they can take back to their comprehensive middle school and high schools and apply to finish up and graduate from high school. So they can go on prepared for the next steps.
It was very nice to meet you guys, and I look forward to working with whoever will be there in the fall for Impact, and I hope that, you know, they enjoyed their time with me during their experience with the summer program.
Thank you to everyone that made this program possible. It's been truly a blessing working in this program and working with all the kids. All the kids, they really are great kids, and they have a lot to give back. So thank you.
To the kids, I am very blessed to have known you guys and gotten to know you guys, and I just wish you guys the best in anything, in every way of life. Just know that rain is always there.
For me, it's helped me to have a lot more grace. When I first came in, they probably felt like I was the one always on them, but it's a big thing is I've become better at translating that passion I have for them, getting them to see that the reason I'm so passionate is because I want them to be great.
Well, just that this was an amazing group. We really enjoyed them. They helped us control our pace so that it was not frantic. Sometimes we get really anxious about getting the boat done. This was sort of organic, and it was really wonderful. And the fact that they all had a connection to each other made it feel like a family, So it was really, this was a really special event. Yeah.
Most important thing that you can have is your mind, which is your mindset. If you're going to think negatively about yourself, you're going to have a negative life. You're going to keep a positive mindset about everything, that you're able to do this, you can achieve this. You will eventually.
I would just say that I am so proud of each and every one of you and the growth that you guys have all made. I know that there's been lots of challenges and lots of barriers along the way. And I just thank each of you and your families for going on this adventure of this new program, Impact. and for really being ambassadors for change, because all of you, through the work that you guys are doing in the program, truly are ambassadors for change, for us to do this work even better. And your voice and your leadership through these next few years is really gonna help us to see the direction that this program goes. And you know, like I told you guys in the beginning, the future versions of yourselves that will come, you know, years down the road will benefit from the hard work that you guys have put in. And I just hope that as life takes you down the journey that it does, that you stay in touch with all of us, and that you remember when, you know, those worries get a little too big, or the stress and the struggle of the day-to-day pops up, that you remember that your home is still always with Impact, and that we're all still here rooting for you and here to support you, and that you're never alone. And I am just so grateful to each of you for allowing me the opportunity to just have a tiny presence in your journey.